refused to share my inheritance with my stepsisters because we never got along.
Ooh, sorry. You should have played nicer if you wanted my V-Bucks.
Womp womp. I, 31 male, refused to give my stepsisters any of my inheritance. My father began dating a woman when I was 8 years old. He and my mother had already split. The woman he began dating had 3 other children from another relationship. Me and my stepmother never got along. I never got along with her or her children, and this relationship only seemed to get worse when I moved in with my father when I was 12 years old. By the way, this comes from Maleficent Split 7986, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So for context, my father is a very emotionless man. He made it very clear to my stepmother that she would not parent me, and he would not parent her children. Each would deal with their own children, a rule which he abided by, and she did not.
Wait, Gramps said this?
No, this is OP's dad.
Oh, okay.
Got remarried, and they both have children, and he was like, we got to stick with our own kind. We can't be cross parenting here.
Oh, yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To be clear, although he was not emotionally there for her children, he did buy them everything they wanted.
Which, as we all know, is what matters most.
Of course.
In every story we've ever heard.
Exactly. They went to private schools. They always had the latest tech and money, and when they came of age, he bought each of them a car. Spending money was my father's way of being emotional. This is exactly how he was with me. All the way through my teens, she would increasingly try to control my life, what I could do, where I could go, what money I was allowed, what I could eat. If I mentioned it to my father, he would talk to her and it would stop for a couple of months, but then begin again. The cycle continued all throughout my childhood. And to be honest, nothing she did really bothered me. After years of being around them, they all just became irrelevant to me. As harsh as it sounds, I had no negative or positive feelings towards any of them. Fast forward to when I was 15, and this was when the relationship between myself and her children really took a turn for the worse. My father got diagnosed with Oh no. As soon as he was diagnosed, he wrote a will and left me everything. The house, the cars, his money, his savings, his other properties, his business, literally everything. The will was left with his solicitor and a copy was given to him. He placed this with all his other documents in a secure place so people would know if anything happened to him, what his wishes were. My father was given the all clear after a year of getting treatments and surgeries. It seemed as soon as he was given the all clear, my stepmother found his will and exploded. She came into my room with her oldest daughter, who didn't even live with us at the time, screaming at me, telling me that I had manipulated my father and to get out of her house right now before she calls the police. I was 16. How had I manipulated him?
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
I can't believe you've manipulated your father into acting and behaving the exact way he's always acted since forever.
Get out of my house.
Yeah,
Go.
get out.
16-year-old? That's insane.
But yeah, she's just mad that she ain't getting no money.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, you'll never see anything get between people faster than money.
Money. I left. As I said previously, nothing these people could say to me would ever bother me. They were irrelevant to me. I rang my father and informed him what had happened. Also said previously, my father is emotionless. I have never heard him change his tone of voice, let alone get angry. He turned up to the house within 20 minutes of getting my phone call, and as soon as he was back, he told my stepsisters to leave so that he and my stepmother could talk. My stepsisters came outside and all 4 of us were there, and I believe for the first time in my life, I heard my father raise his voice. I couldn't make out what he was saying, but after 5 minutes, he came out of the house and told me to get into his car. We were going to get food. That's scary. It's like,
yeah.
we're going, get in the car.
We're going to go get food and then you're trapped.
Yeah. In the car, he went back to his normal self. My dad's never tried hiding anything from me, so I asked what he said to my stepmother. He had told her everything he owns goes to me, and that will never change. The next few years, I don't think my stepmother or stepsisters spoke to me. Maybe menial things like hello, goodbye, but definitely not a conversation. Not until I was 18. When I was 18, my dad and stepmother gathered me and her children and informed us all that they were buying a new family home. My stepmother's oldest daughter said, "Oh, that's nice. You'll get a good price for this one." And before my stepmother replied, my father interrupted and informed us all that he wasn't selling. He was giving the house to me. Whoa.
Oh,
giving the
mama.
house to OP.
Oof.
This was his house. He had bought it before he even met my stepmother. Every one of them turned and in unison began screaming at me how I take all of my father's money and things along those lines. I didn't even know my father was giving me the house. I didn't even know he was buying a new one. My oldest stepsister began hysterically screaming for me to give her the house. She had a husband and a child. She needed it, and I was going to uni, so I didn't. That's a lot of information to be thrown at you and then screamed again at you. Just in anger.
Do we think that screaming at OP and demanding that she give you the house is the best way to go about this situation? Even from a selfish perspective.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think screaming to get your way is ever going to actually work.
Yeah.
My father then piped up with his calm, unchanging voice that the new house being bought would be split equally between himself and my stepmother. So when they pass, I would get his 50% and they would share their mother's 50%. This did not help the situation, and instead, I began getting screamed at more.
So
just give her a break.
But they're going to already have another house.
Yeah.
They're buying another house.
Yeah.
OP's getting the original house that dad bought for himself. I don't see why we can't just all get along here.
It's like, well, he's not dead yet, you guys. He hasn't passed away yet. Like, you don't need to be thinking about what you're going to get when he passes right now.
Yeah.
You don't need to be getting mad about that. Like,
Yeah.
That's kind of dark to do, man. I don't know. I was indifferent to them, so it didn't really faze me, and we moved on. 12 years later, I am now 30 years old. My stepmother and my father have been broken up for about 3 years. Whoa.
Oh.
Still living together, just completely separate.
Oh, that sounds fun.
That's crazy, man. I haven't spoken to my stepsisters in 10 years, even though I see at least one of them every other week. My stepmother got diagnosed with terminal. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Can't get a break. She only had 12 to 18 months to live. She moved in with her eldest daughter due to needing round-the-clock care, and my father couldn't provide it for her. So 4 months pass, and none of them have contacted my father, not once. He had a stroke and ended up going into a coma. Whoa.
Oh my God.
After being in the coma for 2 weeks, I reached out and let my stepmother know. I didn't delay on purpose. They just never crossed my mind.
Which I guess is,
That's
again,
pretty
it makes
funny.
sense. It's like everything has always been separated.
Yeah.
It's been 3 years now since the
Yeah.
previous part of that story we just heard.
Don't blame you. The day after I informed her, I went around to his house to collect all of his documents in preparation for his passing. I wanted everything ready rather than having to search for it, and his locks had been changed. This didn't bother me. I just went home and forgot about it. 3 weeks later, my father came out of his coma and was due to be sent home. He was severely unwell, but he was alive. So I went round to my stepmother, got the new keys, and took him home. After a week of being home, he received a letter from his pension informing him of a beneficiary change. So he rang, and his pension had been changed into my stepmother's name.
Oh, financial crimes. Here we come.
What? Now, my father had 3 private pensions, and every one of them had been changed. His signature had been forged on documents.
Felony.
We then went through every important thing that was of value: pension, cars, bank accounts, everything. She had changed all of my father's car logbooks into her name and his pensions. In total, around $850,000 worth of assets and money she would have stolen if he had passed away when he was in his coma. $850,000.
I wonder if this is like the crime equivalent of like unrealized capital gains.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, you almost stole $850,000 worth of assets, but because you didn't, technically you're not going to go to jail.
Dude, I don't know though. I think she should.
I think she maybe might need to go somewhere for almost stealing nearly $1 million from this OP's dad.
Yeah. 'Cause it's not like he was just like alive and well and she did this. Like he very well could have passed away.
I think
and she was doing this. So
the forgery you can definitely get got for
sure.
Right? But you can't, I don't think you can get got for like stealing $850K because you didn't. You tried to. You wanted to. So I'm sure there's a different crime corresponding penalty for that.
Dude, I don't know. However, the one good thing from this was when we rang the mortgage company for the property they had bought together, they had informed us that the property was in fact bought on a joint mortgage, which means both of them own 100% of the property. If one dies, the survivor gets 100% of the property. This wasn't an issue for my father. He said she could have 100% if he passes away before it sells. Once confronted with the attempted theft, she just said, "I thought you would would have wanted me to have it. I thought you would have wanted me to have it.
I'm gonna go to the bank and do that same thing. I'm gonna steal all the money out of the vault, and then when the cops arrest me, I'm gonna say, I just thought they wanted me to have that money.
Yeah, I thought they just loved me really
and
much.
they'll say, oh, okay, you're just a little baby. Okay, we'll let you out. We don't have any room for babies in jail, so we'll let you go.
Exactly. After this, the relationship between them soured. They both wanted to sell the house. However, she wanted 100% of it. But they agreed that he would get 30 and she would get 70. He was happy to give it to her. So we were going through some more of his documents and found his life insurance documents. I knew my father was wealthy, but I never imagined how wealthy until I saw how much the life insurance policy was for, and I was downed as 100% beneficiary. Wow. You're getting banked, dude.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Whilst reading through the life insurance documents, I noticed a small section on a cohabiting policy. So my father rang them and they informed us, yes, even though I was down as beneficiary, she would be still entitled to claim 50% because they are legally in a cohabitation partnership. Doesn't matter that they are no longer together. They have a joint mortgage, which is all the proof she would need. So, okay, let me get this straight. They have a joint mortgage. So that means that if he passes away, then she still has access to like 50% of...
Well, she gets the house. The joint,
right.
I think the joint mortgage is.
Oh, okay.
Is a different thing.
I see. The 50% that she would be getting would still be
it's from the life insurance policy. I think the joint mortgage and the cohabitation is more of just like it kind of just gives more weight, like, or what's it called? Credence. It's like it solidifies the life insurance policy more because it's like, well, you guys have a joint mortgage and you're cohabitating.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, she is still entitled to 50% of the life insurance policy.
Dang.
I think that's the point of that. I don't know.
That's crazy though. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, I would say stop living with the woman who tried to steal everything out from under your daughter's nose.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, while you were in a coma and didn't care that you were in one.
Yeah. So after my father had taken a turn for the worse, and after speaking to a solicitor, me and him devised a plan. We had asked the solicitor to send a letter to them informing that my father would not sell the property unless it was a 70-30 split to him. To be honest, he probably is entitled to that because she never paid a penny for anything. He didn't care about the house, just the life insurance. Now, one of my stepsisters is a solicitor, and we were hoping that her first reaction would be to ensure that her mother got at least 50% and not 30.5. And we were correct. A week after our solicitor sent the letter, we received a notice of severance from my stepsister informing my father that on the grounds that he and my stepmother had split, they are both entitled to 50% of the house. This is what we needed to legally show that she is no longer cohabiting. Okay, so it seems like we're on the right-ish track.
Yes,
yeah?
we are playing the game.
Playing the game. My father passed 3 weeks after we received this.
Oh,
Whoa. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting that to happen. At his funeral, my stepmother and stepsisters turned up and they were joyous, happy, and laughing. This didn't really bother me. I knew how petty they were and expected it. Anyway, 6 months after my father's funeral, my wife and child were out with friends at a play area for the kids, and my eldest stepsister was there with her husband and children. I could see them staring and giggling, and eventually they came over. They mentioned the house and how we tried and failed to rob 20% of it from them and some other things. Then she started to say disrespectful things about my father, and I snapped. I told them we didn't care about the house. My dad didn't want my stepmother to get his life insurance.
Oof.
My stepsisters went quiet for around 30 seconds and then started asking what I meant. I just grabbed my child and me and my wife left. The next day, I was bombarded with phone calls asking what my father had left me, and I told them every single thing I got in inheritance. I told them right down to the last penny, and then proceeded to brag about how we needed them to file for the severance because if we did, they would block and delay it, suspecting something. He's just like monologuing their evil plan to these people now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think at this point, I hope at least at this point, there's nothing that can be done. This father has passed away. None of the stuff that has been laid out can be changed.
It's been done.
It's final.
Got everything. I was then nonstop harassed for the next couple of weeks, being told I didn't deserve the money, that I should split it 4 ways because he was all of our father, not just mine. Then the threats started, and I received a letter from my stepmother's youngest daughter, who was a solicitor, informing me of legal proceedings that they were going to take.
Blah, 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 blah. There's just get over it.
Nothing you shouldn't do.
You deserve absolutely nothing. You showed up to his funeral and you laughed and smiled.
Yeah.
You're basically cartoon villains.
Yes, that's evil.
Yeah.
Evil talk. So now, after 4 months of this, we were informed today that they have no legal claim to any of my father's inheritance due to all his paperwork, will, and beneficiaries on his policies, which he was in sound mind when he completed. It has ruled in my favor.
Indeed.
I received another phone call from my eldest stepsister after I found out about winning the case, begging me to split the money and assets or at least give them the money from the house that my father and their mother owned together.
Dude. That's going to be the biggest no from me of all time, my guy.
Yeah.
I have one question. Did you laugh at my father's funeral?
The answer is yes.
About that 20% that we failed to get from you? Were you laughing and smiling and giggling about getting the one up on my dad?
If that answer's yes, this answer's no.
Come on.
Come on.
And if you say no, then I'm going to be like, oh, there was someone who looked exactly like you at the funeral who did that. That's crazy. You should go find your doppelganger. You want to make some money? You want some real money? Go find your twin and you can make a whole circus act with you and your doppelganger.
Whoa, he's got $1 million ideas over here.
I'm full of them. Call me E.B. Barnum or whatever. TB, what was his name? What was his first name?
I don't know.
Barnum?
P.T.
Oh, P.T. Barnum. Yeah, I said E.B. Barnum.
E.B.
I think that's actually a guy. That's a character from Perry Mason. I'm going to stop now. Turning the brain off.
Turning the brain off. But I want you to turn your brain on and go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and go search up OK Storytime. Where, what are you going to find, Dakota?
You're going to find like 1,200 plus hours of stories to listen to.
Dude, so many stories.
Full episodes full of stories just like this.
Full of stories. And we got some more to this story, but do we have any final thoughts before we roll on in?
I just really like that the time jump between like, yeah, so they submitted all of this paperwork and they're like, we're going to sue you and like take the money. And then it was like, so I immediately won the case. And it's like, so there was nothing going on there. They had no shot.
Yeah.
And I'm glad because honestly, the absurd disrespect of like going to the funeral and openly basically being happy that he's passed because
that
like
is an insane,
you
evil
win
thing.
Financially from it. Dude, it's so gross.
They just don't go to the funeral. If you are happy that someone has passed away, don't go to the funeral.
Yeah.
It's so incredibly evil and disrespectful.
Don't come to my house.
Don't
call me.
But we do have a little bit more. So, my wife believes that I should just give them something to leave us alone, but that would go against what my father wanted. Me and my wife both earn good money, so we wouldn't miss it. And the only one of my stepsisters who earns decent money is the solicitor. The other two are desperate for money. But when I think about it, I'm constantly reminded that I don't actually care for these people. So why should I help them out? So, am I the a-hole? We do have a quick edit just to make it clear. Oh, my stepmother passed away around 3 months ago. The house was sold for $1.2 million, so they did receive inheritance, around $200K each, assuming that she left equal amounts to each of her children. And that is it. So they just still want even more money.
I would say womp womp to those,
womp.
Look, and it's like, I don't know, is there a situation where you could be the a-hole here? It's like, maybe, like, I would say if there were like kids involved, it's like maybe if you've got the money to help set them up like positively in the future, because the children are innocent.
Yeah.
But there's no kids in this context.
Well, I mean,
that I see. You have your own kids. You gotta watch out for them first.
And it's just like, you don't owe them anything. You literally don't owe them anything. They were always mad at OP for like getting things from the father when it was not OP's choice at all. OP was just like, I just found out that I'm getting this. Why are you mad at me?
Yeah, they're like, you manipulated your father.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm 16. I'm learning about trigonometry.
Exactly. So it's like, what is the point? Like, they never cared about OP. They never were nice about this whole money thing. It's just, no, you're definitely not the a-hole. Keep your money. You don't owe them anything.
Yeah.